The Young Communist League of Britain is honored to send greetings to our comrades in the Communist Party USA on the occasion of their international conference. Internationalism is one of the core principles of a socialist revolution, and it's in times like the ones we are living in now, with the escalation of the imperialist war and increasing hostility towards socialist countries, that this principle assumes even more value, and upholding it becomes even more important. When capitalism attacks our lives in the workplaces, workers form unions to fight back. When capitalism attacks our lives in our nations, then workers will form parties and other organizations to fight back. And when the capitalists bring entire countries to war with each other, then international solidarity among workers is how we fight back and change the course of history for the better. In times of war, the capitalist class of a country will go out of their way, spending enormous amount of resources to ensure that workers get united under the banner of their imperialist war, making it look like the war is representative of our interests as workers and of the interests of the whole nation. They make it look like there's something patriotic in risking our lives and killing other workers abroad, while instead the true purpose is to increase the share on the global market for the capitalist class. While in normal times or relative peace, the capitalist class of a country will go out of their way to keep the workforce divided and to encourage workers to fight each other over wages within their own nations. A great example for this is the attitude of the Democratic and Republican parties, who are spectacularly good at polarizing opposite views around the vast majority of the issues, but then they are capable of finding common ground in the new Cold War against China, the continuous oppression of the Cuban people with an economic blockade which has lasted for over 6 years, and managing to make Democratic Party voters support wars initiated by Republican governments and vice versa, as in the war against Iraq, Afghanistan, Libya, and many others, which have resulted in the death of millions of innocent people. All of this death and destruction is being enabled by a distorted meaning of patriotism, distorted by the ruling class for the purpose of imperialism. In this scenario, the solidarity among the workers of one nation can become the first step toward the international solidarity among the workers of all nations. Because when the unity of the working class is the product of solidarity rather than national chauvinism, then it assumes a revolutionary character. We're used to thinking that imperialism only affects people in the countries that are being exploited, but the system that brings war and exploitation in those countries is the same system that brings crisis and austerity in our countries. It is the system that has destroyed our public services and is causing millions of children in the United States, United Kingdom, and in the rest of Europe to live in poverty and grow up malnourished. Conditions are getting worse, and the presence of two distinct class interests that are opposed to each other is becoming more and more apparent. On one side, we have the filthy interests of the imperialist ruling capitalist classes, seeking to constantly increase their share of the world markets, and on the other side, the interests of working class people from all nations, seeking to peacefully coexist with each other. Unfortunately, the capitalist classes in the main imperialist countries won't allow class consciousness to arise spontaneously. They have many tools at their disposal. Mass media and even social media platforms have been shown using algorithms capable of manipulating public opinion. Or they even will turn against their own citizens and treat them as enemies, as we recently saw with the illegal detainment of American citizens returning from solidarity brigades in Cuba. But that's why organizations like ours, working class parties which are truly the vanguard of the working class movement, have the duty to embody the values of solidarity and internationalism, in order to transmit them to the masses, not only by slogans and words, but also by practical means. International solidarity and cooperation among working class parties and organizations is a practical means through which we can help the workers ditch the flag of imperialist war and instead to fight under the flag of socialist revolution. Solidarity to the comrades of the CPUSA. We wish you a good and fruitful conference with many more to come.